Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Weekly Roundup. My name is Jaime Zap, and let me tell you, I have done about 11 tests, and I don't know what I was doing wrong, but something was not syncing to my computer, but it seems like we're finally working now, so let's get it. As said, I'm the CEO of a startup called Kindr, and really what I've been wanting to do is a weekly roundup. And really what I want to digest is kind of everything I go through in a week and kind of look back on the progress and see how much progress I've made. So I guess it is a little bit of an ego-driven thing, but also I want to keep track of it and really kind of share some of the insights as an early stage founder, share some of the pains with other founders kind of going through the same thing and realizing that um, that this trajectory is not linear. It is a very, very hard, bumpy ride with lots of obstacles to overcome in the startup world, and really just kind of maybe kind of decompress after a long week. In any case, it is Friday, November 8th, I believe. So the week ending on November 8th, 2024. And, I've been at this for just almost a year now, I guess you can say. And like some days it feels like you're accomplishing so much. And then some days it feels like you're not, and I think that's normal. I think that we go through really kind of peaks and valleys, and sometimes you're like a workhorse, and sometimes it feels like you're not accomplishing much, and that's normal. I will say that I do work every day as much as I can, and I'm doing the best I can. But with the startup team, it's lean, and so you really have to decide what your core objectives are and kind of focus on those, because it's easy to get tied up in everything, right? Where everything feels like a priority, and that's really when you got to take a break and look at the big the vision, and not everything's a priority, right? And so really determining what those objectives and main priorities are, and then tracking them is important, or else you can go crazy. Not there yet, but might get there one day. So anyways, I got some notes. I'm going to look over. What did I do this week? What did I do this week anyways? Yeah, so daylight savings time was a pain in the ass as usual. I don't know why we still have it, because really I see no upside. We fall back. We lost an hour. So really what that means, they say we get an extra day, like daylight savings time, but it's the opposite. So really what happens is it gets darker earlier. So you get that extra hour in the morning, which I don't think that's important, right? Like, don't you want the extra hour of sunlight after you're done all of your workhorsing? Like, for the average person who isn't working for themselves, don't you want that extra hour of sunlight when you're not in the office? Like, do you really care if it's dark outside when you're like brushing your teeth and getting your kids into their clothes and dropping them off at daycare? No, you want that daylight hour, that extra day of light at the end of the day when you're like, sayonara boss, I want to go outside and get a little bit of vitamin D. Like, that's how I see things. But on top of that, besides the fact that I think that you actually lose an hour of light, your kids do not adjust. And so we were trying to get them to bed early, but naturally that's kind of hard, and then they're waking up early, so they're cranky as hell, and that's just no fun in general. So daylight savings time was one kind of overarching thing to deal with. Yeah, besides that, it's been really chaotic. So one of our first clients, we're working really hard to kind of get them up and running and help them achieve their objectives. Now, they are not our ICP. What is an ICP? Right? For those who don't know the language, that's okay. I can barely remember most of the acronyms myself most days. ICP is ideal customer profile. Why is that important? Well, when you are building a new product or building a company, you really want to know where you want to target your efforts when you're going into market penetration, right? What is most strategic? Where are you targeting your main features, functionalities? Whose pain points are you trying to solve? Yada, yada. Now, in my instance, for my company, Kindr, this is more relevant, or very relevant. It's always relevant, but it's incredibly relevant because we are what you could consider a three-sided marketplace or a three-sided network, a network play. And so you're not just going to go after all sides of the network with the same fortitude or same pizzazz efforts. You have to be more strategic than that, because you just do. You can't please all customers all the time. Really, you want to look at the most cost-effective way of getting market traction, market penetration, revenues, and towards profitability as soon as possible. And so this particular client that we're working with, I love. They were actually our first paying customer, which is incredible, but they were not our ICP. Why does that matter? Well, because it's actually more labor intensive to actually serve this client in the early days of our platform, right? And forever grateful for them, forever want to keep them happy, forever want to help them achieve their objectives. But our platform isn't at a robust enough stage yet for this customer profile, this persona, to do things in a very automated, seamless way, right? So there is more manual labor that comes with this. And so this is not to complain. This is a really good thing. And sometimes you want to do this. And I want to be clear from a product standpoint. Some may disagree. I think this is a really great thing because I'm learning so much from this client. And that's important because when we eventually do want to target the specific area of the market, I need to remember and I need to mark down what were the pain points that I'm facing? What do we need to automate? Do we provide the right features and values and value propositions for this particular client and persona, that this should even be one of our target customers, right? And so I'm learning all these things, and it's really, really great, but it's a lot of labor. And on top of that, next point, yes, this was an unexpected, really amazing thing. So I actually had my first couple of meetings with a global firm, I'm trying to keep it discreet because I don't want to jinx it. B, I don't think I'm allowed to say it. I'm under an NDA. So we're in preliminary discussions to actually do a pilot project locally, using Kindr to help them manage their global funds and not just funds, fundraising activities, fund management, stakeholder communications. And so this was really an organic lead. I met with one of the decision makers while I was getting my coffee and just started talking with her. And, that's why it's good for introverts to sometimes make small talk with strangers because you just never know where it may go. Right. I'm really just saying this to remind myself, but she was amazing. And it just turned out that it was really good timing. I know our product's good. Now, this client is our ICP, ideal customer profile. And I will explain why in another video. That would probably be a good topic for those that are wanting to learn more about, product management, product strategy. I think that would be a really great topic. So I'm going to make a mental note, which I will later forget, to do an actual full episode on ICP. But yes, they are our ICP for a very obvious reason that I won't go into because I will bore you further, especially if you're not a product person. So hold on that. That's really exciting. Likely wouldn't start planning it until Q1 of next year, just because with these larger firms, getting them through the funnel, it just takes longer, right? With due diligence, meeting the different decision makers, et cetera, yada, yada. So anyways, it's looking good so far. And yes, other admin stuff. So when you are in like a startup mode and you're a lean team, which we are, like right now, it's still just myself, my co-founder Sid, and our development team, which are overseas right now. Our overseas development team, that's actually another good subject I should do on another podcast. They were already, my co-founder had already worked with them at a previous company. So we kind of de-risked that situation. They're phenomenal. They're doing a great job. But besides us, like we have to do everything, right? And unfortunately what that means when your team is like really lean is there is so much admin work to do, and it really eats away at your time to like build a product, do business development, do your strategy, all this other stuff, all the other really important things that you're excited about when you start a company. I want to build this incredible innovation. I want to solve these problems. I love tech. I love product. I love solving problems. Let's build these things. I'm a creative. Woo, this is awesome. I work for myself now. They really get the upside kind of goes down. Again, it sounds like a complaint. I'm not. This is just like a reality check. There is a shit ton of admin work that you have to do because I'm not paying anyone to do it. And even if I was, for a lot of this stuff, it would take longer for me to explain how to do some of it, right? Don't get me wrong. If you want to come on pro bono as an admin support, I will take you. But this particular stuff that I was working on this week was labor intensive. So I had some SHRED meetings. SHRED is scientific research. What is the E for? And development. What is the E for? Economic development? Anyway, it's a tax credit against any research and development activities that you are doing as a technology company. And so just had a bunch of meetings with that. It's a really great incentive to do a lot of your startup technology company work. Oh my gosh, I did not say that in an articulate way, but I'm trying to rush because I have something to get to. Shredded meetings can give you money back, essentially. It's a really great program to help bring money and resources back to startup technology companies in Canada. We are not eligible for a ton of the money because my co-founder is an American and he lives in America, and our development team is overseas. I'm the only Canadian. living, working here. Our company is Canadian right now. So only a portion of my activities this year are shred eligible, but every penny counts and I will be getting some back. So that's fantastic. Besides that, meetings, downtown, online, downtown, back and forth, everywhere. And finally, this isn't something I got to really spend a lot of time on this week, but a little bit. Our V2, version 2 of Kindr is almost done being developed. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean you can have it right now. I would love that. But essentially what that means is they're almost done coding it, the front end and the back end, right? Right now, what that means is me and Sid, my co-founder, have to go through everything, every button, every user flow. He'll do the back end because I can't. I'm not technical enough to audit the back end, but he's been doing that on an ongoing basis. But essentially look at every button flow, look for errors, look for bugs, test the shit out of it, and then make sure it's running smoothly to then transition our existing clients over to it, do some beta testing, and then ship it to the iOS, Apple, and Android stores where you guys as consumers can actually access the app. And so the good news is that I'm playing around with it. I get to access it. I get to go on my phone and use it. You guys don't yet, but you will soon. But there's just a lot of hours for me to put in between now and then to get you guys access to it, to make sure that it's as awesome as can be, right? And so it's really exciting to start seeing something more tangible come out and that I can play with now as a perfectionist. I'm like, yeah, this is really exciting. But I gave the requirements to the developers like a good 6 to 8 months ago now. And so now I'm like, yeah, this is great, but there needs to be so much more, right? And you have to like kind of reel it in and go, okay, one step at a time, right? So it's very exciting. Pretty happy about that. And I think that kind of really takes us to the end of the week. I mean, I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff, but those are kind of the highlights. The global firm, very exciting. We're working on kind of a really exciting announcement that may come towards the end of this month, end of the year for next year, but I'll hold off on that. And in terms of losses, any L's I took this week, I think it's good to think of the L's. I didn't write them down, but we have had L's. Like I got a no. Yes, I had met with the venture capital fund. And I thought it went really well, and it did, but we got a no. We're too early for them. And I knew that. Like for those that of you who actually kind of follow what's happening in the investment landscape, like venture capital's down, right? You have to be like in revenue at a good position. When I mean good, like probably making close to like $1 million ARR, annual recurring revenue. I don't know. I know everyone's kind of got a different investment thesis, but we're not there yet. Like we're not venture capital ready. We're still really at the stage where we're looking for an angel investor at best. But it's good to start filling out those applications and sending them out to venture capital firms because you want to warm them up. You want to razzle dazzle them with your personality and vision. And yeah, clearly I didn't do a good job of that. But no, you really want to kind of get those relationships going so that when you are meeting those threshold requirements for them to invest in you and think that they will reasonably get a return on their investment, that you already have that that introduction, that foot in the door that you can nurture towards. So I'm kind of loosely doing those reach outs and having those conversations, knowing that I do not think that we're VC fundable yet. We're not. When I first started like this company, I thought I would close my raise in like 30 days. I was delusional, delulu, as the younger generation says these days, but no way, right? I thought I would like close it pre-revenue, like maybe 2020, like just post-COVID and maybe like before COVID. In this day and age, nope. Investors be holding on to their dollars for the unicorns. It's like you better be like already like mid J curve to get that money. So if you're an investor and you want to prove me wrong, we are open to a discussion. We are accepting capital with right requirements. That's the wrong word. We have an open round. So do not be afraid to reach out if that's the case. But in any case, now we're going into a long weekend, and that means we have the girls for an extra day. Love long weekends. I think Alina's sick, so that's not a good thing. We will try to keep them occupied. And yeah, I'm going to be more consistent with doing these weekly roundups. I think that they are a good way to remind myself of everything good that's happening and really to keep it real and some of the good, the not so great stuff that happens as well. So anyways, thanks for joining me. My name is Jaime Zap. I am the CEO and co-founder of Kindr. Follow me on my socials and subscribe. Thanks. Have a great weekend, everyone.